Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 46 301 Li Wei, You Have to Help Me. 46th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei pondered, then shook his head gently. Even if you obtain the results, it won't be easy. The world is now a complex web of shifting alliances and hidden dangers. The human race faces the demon race as its primary enemy, while internal factions like the rebel armies and the imperial court are locked in irreconcilable conflict. The rebel armies themselves are wary of being swallowed up by one another. The Twin Rice sect has been plotting for years, infiltrating every major power like a disease. With just a little manipulation, the human race will descend into chaos, leaving them too preoccupied to even defend themselves, let alone attack the underground immortal mansion. The Twin Rice sect and Qilin Zhuang must have been in contact for a long time, but their relationship is one of mutual exploitation. Tang Wanzhou's eyes flickered with surprise. Do you know something I don't? Li Wei knew his current cultivation was insufficient to meddle in the power struggles at the highest levels. Betraying Enshanjing would be a death sentence. Therefore, he dared not reveal that the Bodhisattva and of Coffin Mountain was actually the Hall Master of the Spirit Valley Lingu Hall of the Twin Rice sect. Whether in Li Province or at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, the two sides had cooperated openly and secretly. He said, the Imperial Court and the Transcendence of the ancient myriad sects have spent over 1,000 years in the Lingxiao realm without confirming the Twin Rice sect's main hall is in the underground immortal mansion. How could Qilin Zhuang, who just returned, possibly know? So I suspect there must have been contact and cooperation between the two sides, each exploiting the other. But the Twin Rice sect never expected to be backstabbed by Qilin Zhuang. As Li Wei spoke, an idea struck him. I've thought of an immature plan. Tell me about it, Tang Wanzhou said. Li Wei continued, if the Twin Rice sect and the demon race were truly cooperating, why haven't they fallen out after Qilin Zhuang's betrayal? Tang Wanzhou pondered. Yu Jia was the last ancient immortal giant beast on this land. As Yu Jia's grandson, it's not surprising that Qilin Zhuang would know the various entrances to the underground immortal mansion. I see. The reason the Twin Rice sect dares not speak out must be that Qilin Zhuang knows the true entrance to their main hall. Li Wei asked, what if we use the demon race to spread the secret that the main hall is located within the underground immortal mansion? Tang Wanzhou chuckled. They would be at each other's throats in no time. But the heretical sect can only cooperate with the human race. Their first priority would be to eliminate the demon race. However, convincing the heretical sect that the demon race deliberately betrayed them won't be easy. From Li Wei's perspective, he first wanted to prevent the corpse-sowing rice from sweeping across the 28 provinces of Lingxiao, causing untold suffering. He also wanted to stop the Twin Rice sect and the demon race from joining forces. In this chaotic world, he could only survive by clinging to the cracks between factions. Li Wei, struck by a thought, tentatively asked, who are the chessmasters behind you? Only Snow Sword Tang Court and the founding ancestor of Zhuoqiu family's Confucian Dao, Tang Wanzhou replied candidly. Li Wei said, with your talent and aptitude, having been trapped in the underground immortal mansion for over 2 months, they must have been active on the surface, right? Tang Wanzhou nodded slightly. The fact that I'm still alive proves the heretical sect hasn't handled this easily. The surface world must be in turmoil. Li Wei finally understood why Enshanjing and Yao Qingshan had rushed to the surface. Li Wei, do you know where the entrance to the Holy Heart Stratum is? Tang Wanzhou asked. Li Wei gasped, are you insane? The Holy Heart Stratum is where the rice ancestor resides. If you dare to intrude, you'll become rice fertilizer. By the way, how did you even enter the Southern Purity Nanqing Palace formation? I cultivate a space-type imperial technique. Ordinary formations can't stop me. Otherwise, why do you think I managed to escape Yao Qingshan? Tang Wanzhou tilted her chin, her voice light. Imperial technique. Li Wei was stunned. Even immortal realm great powers struggled to master such techniques, yet she had achieved it in the Dao Seed realm. No wonder she was audacious enough to consider entering the Holy Heart Stratum. The Southern Purity Nanqing Palace is far from a safe place, Li Wei warned, having done all he could. Since you possess a space-type imperial technique, you should leave the main hall immediately and return the way you came to spread the news. Golden rice was cultivated in the Southern Purity Nanqing Palace, and Enshanjing could return at any moment. Tang Wanzhou said, I can't go back the way I came. I suspect the entrance hall is guarded by heretical sect transcendence. Otherwise, how could no news have gotten out in an entire year? Li Wei, you have to help me. I'm just a 5 Cs realm martial mystic cultivator, Li Wei retorted. It's already a huge favor that I haven't exposed you or turned you in for merit points. Tang Wanzhou said, you still have to help me. If I help you again, what about my true disciple status? What about my life? Li Wei protested. Tang Wanzhou said, what if they found out that your Wind Mansion's 36,007 rare insects aren't just Monarch Marquis grade? Li Wei realized that Tang Wanzhou must have discovered something during the Big Phoenix's transformation. Young lord, are you threatening me? Tang Wanzhou said, if I escape on my own, I'll tell everyone that you joined the heretical sect because the Southern Venerable blinded you with her beauty and trapped you in her web of seduction. You can say Yang Qingxi, but don't mention the Southern Venerable, Li Wei said. If she spread such nonsense, he'd never be able to face Yaoan and Yin Shixi again. Tang Wanzhou said, you were the one who said the Southern Venerable is the heretical sect's #1 beauty. That's what makes this convincing. How can I help you? Li Wei asked. Tang Wanzhou replied, find out how many transcendents and immortal realm great powers the heretical sect has. Also, what are the Hall Master and Vice Hall Master of the Heaven Valley Tianjia Hall's identities outside the sect? Alright. Li Wei agreed. Tang Wanzhou continued, you need to find a way to become the heretical sect's divine son and uncover the secrets of the Holy Heart Stratum. I suspect the altar formation for the corpse sowing rice is located there. That's too dangerous. There's no room for discussion on this matter. Li Wei had finally managed to hide in the Wave Valley, and now he was being pushed back into the spotlight as the rice sect's divine son. Very well. Don't wear such a gloomy face. This sovereign can help you resolve your current predicament and clear your name before the world in the future. Tang Wanzhou reached into his cosmic pouch and pulled out a medicine box, handing it to Li Wei. Li Wei opened the box, and a brilliant white light erupted, filling the air with a cleansing medicinal fragrance. Electric veins crisscrossed the air, accompanied by muffled thunderous rumbles. Inside lay half a stalk of heavenly origin spiritual grass, transformed into a 3,000-year-old specimen after absorbing the power of heavenly lightning. Li Wei immediately closed the box, his heart pounding with excitement. Why is there only half a stalk? Tang Wanzhou sat on the ground, pointing at Big Phoenix perched on a bookshelf. It eats too much. During its transformation, it absorbed a dragon seed and half a heavenly origin spirit grass. The heavenly origin spirit grass was originally meant to be a supplement for my breakthrough into the immortal realm. Big Phoenix fluttered down and affectionately nuzzled against Tang Wanzhou's leg, gently rubbing against her. What a waste. Li Wei sighed deeply. If he had a complete 3,000-year-old heavenly origin spirit grass, combined with Zaihe and a dragon seed, Li Wei believed he could have transformed all 7 phoenix-winged moth insects into foot-long creatures. Now, with only half a grass remaining, he wasn't sure if it would be enough to transform even 6 of the little ones. Tang Wanzhou stood up and stretched languidly. Don't worry, I won't drag you down. I'll leave the southern purity Nanqing palace right now. She descended the stairs barefoot. Li Wei asked curiously, have you broken through to the immortal realm? If I hadn't broken through to immortal, how could I have kept Southern Venerable at bay for so long? Not only is she exceptionally beautiful, but her talent is also unparalleled in the last 60 years. Once I leave, I'll have to investigate her thoroughly. As Tang Wanzhou walked down the stairs, she leaned weakly against a pillar, one hand pressed against her chest, her face contorted in extreme pain. Li Wei frowned. This was the rice sect's main hall. Where could she possibly go? The Vice Hall Master of the Heavenly Principles Tianli Hall was clearly even more formidable than Yao Qingshan. After a moment's hesitation, he said, how about you stay here? All right. Tang Wanzhou looked up at Li Wei on the second floor and asked, do you have a good plan? Li Wei was stunned. Did the young lord just play the victim? Within the southern purity Nanqing Palace, there were several forbidden areas left from the ancient Bhagavata sect era, shrouded in formations and potentially harboring unknown dangers. No one had entered them for years. Li Wei used an azure jade formation talisman to bring her into the ruins of a Buddhist hall. Inside lay a fallen giant stone Buddha statue, a blood pool that had never dried in tens of thousands of years, crumbling walls, barren ground, and thick blood mist. This is a good place to hide. You absolutely must not wander out on your own. The southern purity Nanqing Palace isn't just home to the Southern Venerable, Li Wei warned. Tang Wanzhou surveyed the surroundings. This place is interesting. Li Wei withdrew from the formation's protective light curtain. First, he provided some spiritual qi to the golden rice before entering the formation area surrounding the black Buddhist pagoda, bringing the 7 little ones to the blood mud space. Big Phoenix had to stay hidden here for the next few days and couldn't show himself again. Time was tight. They had at most 3 days, possibly even less if Wang Shu broke through first and attacked early. Several months had passed, and the blazing flame power within the 6 little ones had long subsided. They could now resume taking Zaihe. Li Wei harvested a Zaihe, the size of a plate, from the Tanggu Sea. This Zaihe was larger and radiated more heat than any the phoenix-winged moth emperor had consumed before. Li Wei's spiritual qi nearly burned through. Now that I'm a spiritual master, I can refine medicinal ingredients. Li Wei decided to find time to refine the Zaihe. If he could harness its power to quickly master the sixfold samsara burning karma technique, he would gain another trump card he could use openly. He possessed the Fusang Divine Tree Spiritual Light's radiant shadow, which gave him an advantage due to his affinity with the Zaihe. Li Wei took 6 of the 9 dragon seeds and gave 1 to each of the 6 little ones. As for how to use the dragon seeds to plant Dao seeds in the phoenix-winged moth emperor, Li Wei had already consulted Tang Wanzhou. Tang Wanzhou said she had never guided the big phoenix on how to plant a Dao seed, it had simply swallowed the seed whole. Each of the 6 little ones swallowed a dragon seed, and a dragon's roar echoed within them. Then, they pounced forward, ravenously devouring half a heavenly origin spiritual grass in the Zaihe. Li Wei watched them for a long while before opening a spatial barrier and boarding his jade boat to head out onto the boundless Tanggu Sea to attempt a breakthrough to 3-star spiritual master. Upon breaking through to 3-star spiritual master, the pale cyan fisheye that forms the time cocoon should become more stable and last longer. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuanhuan Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 47 302 Breakthrough and Emergence. 47th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. After a day of cultivation within the time cocoon, Li Wei, enveloped in spirit flame, shot out of the formation surrounding the Buddha pagoda like lightning. He raced directly to the pavilion where Yao Qingshan resided, overturned the lampshade, retrieved the spirit platform blazing starstone fragment within, and stored it in his spirit realm between his eyebrows. Then, moving with the speed of wind and lightning, he dashed back to the formation area around the Buddha pagoda and plunged into the blood-mud space. When he began to condense his third Neonly star, one spirit platform blazing starstone fragment proved insufficient. Therefore, he had no choice but to take Yao Qingshan's spirit platform blazing starstone fragment. He was at a critical stage in condensing his spiritual power Neonly star and couldn't afford to worry about the consequences. He'd have to buy another one from the Spirit Valley Lingu Hall later and replace it. It seems the higher one's cultivation realm, the more spirit platform blazing starstone fragments are needed to condense a spiritual power Neonly star. If I'd known, I should have sold those 100 character artifacts I had and bought a couple more. Returning to the Tanggu Sea, Li Wei sat on a 30-meter-long jade boat, using the second spirit platform blazing starstone fragment to continue condensing his third spiritual power Neonly star. The light and shadow of the Fusang divine tree behind him mirrored the 2 real divine trees at the horizon, resembling a seedling and an ancient tree, a child and a teacher. The Tanggu Sea was filled with the radiant, scorching Zaihe, creating a beautiful and fragrant atmosphere. Above him, light condensed into streams of luminous particles that flowed into Li Wei's forehead and the 2 Fusang divine tree light and shadows. His aura grew increasingly powerful, his entire body becoming crystal clear, like a pure immortal physique. Gurgle. Gurgle. As time passed, bubbles began to surface, and white mist rose from the sea. This was the sign that the golden crow was about to rise from the depths. If Li Wei didn't leave immediately, his current cultivation level wouldn't be able to withstand the scorching heat of the sea boiling flames. He remained motionless, as still as an immortal mountain, his consciousness withdrawn. His perception of the outside world was hazy, as he was at the critical moment of condensing his third spiritual power Neonly star. Behind him, the Fusang divine tree's shadow, towering over 10 meters tall, grew thicker at its trunk, its branches spreading and reaching higher. The divine tree's shadow continued to breathe rhythmically. The golden crow flame on its leaves became increasingly solid, its temperature and brightness intensifying. Glug. The bubbles on the sea's surface grew even larger. The seabed seemed to be ablaze, radiating a golden red glow that turned the seawater into a molten, magma-like color. The more intense the moment, the brighter the spirit's light surrounding Li Wei became, enveloping his entire body in flames. Boom. His spirit realm between his eyebrows trembled as his third spiritual power Neonly star successfully condensed. A ripple of golden red light spread outward from Li Wei, reaching a distance of 1 li before gradually fading away. At the sea's surface, concentric waves radiated outward from him. This was his 1 li world, the extent of his psychic power's reach. If a martial mystic Dao path cultivator could cultivate their Dao heart manifestation to the level of 1 li world, they would be listed in the Jiazi register and become an elder of the Twin Rice sect. Of course, Li Wei was still far from reaching that level of martial mystic Dao mastery. However, in terms of perception, he was already on par with them. This was the advantage of being a spiritual master. Oh no! The golden crow is about to emerge from the sea. Li Wei retracted his jade boat, transforming into a humanoid flame that shot through the spatial barrier gate and tumbled into the blood-mud space. Boom! Almost instantly, a crimson-gold radiance and flames engulfed the entire Tanggu Sea. Waves of heat and flame surged through the spatial barrier gate, landing on Li Wei. His robes instantly turned to ash, leaving only his blood handprint demonic armor. His skin burned painfully, as his protective spiritual chi and spirituality light failed to block the heat. Enduring the searing pain, Li Wei stood up, draped an outer robe over his shoulders, and gazed at the golden crow soaring into the sky. He felt no fear, only excitement, truly realizing his current strength. At this distance, the golden crow's heat was gradually losing its power over him. He could now barely withstand it. If he reached the Dao Seed realm and further enhanced his physical body, he believed he could stand on the Tanggu Sea and withstand the full force of the heat waves. Of course, this was because he and the golden crow's true form were separated by thousands of miles, perhaps even tens of thousands. Getting too close to the golden crow flame would still mean instant annihilation. Once my physical body is strong enough and I'm wearing the governor's robe, I'll stay right in the Tanggu Sea. During the golden crow's flight, I'll absorb its flame and Zihei's flame from the sea surface. My spiritual power, Nianli, stars will grow rapidly. Only then did Li Wei finally calm down and examine the three spiritual power, Nianli, stars in his spirit realm. Each star was several times larger than the one he had possessed as a one-star spiritual master. They resembled three golden red glass orbs, revolving in a mysterious pattern with powerful, scorching, and blinding energy. My spiritual light, influenced by the Fusang divine tree and the golden crow, is fire attributed. Even without formations or runes, it possesses destructive offensive power, fully capable of rivaling martial mystic cultivators in the third heaven of the Dao Seed realm. Against Yi Nanfeng and Yi Baifeng, those inferior root Dao Seed realm third heaven cultivators, I should be able to take on two at once with just my psychic power, or at least hold my own. Li Wei had just broken through, and his three spiritual power, Nianli, stars still had considerable room for improvement. However, without the star spiritual pill, rapidly advancing to the peak of 3-star spiritual master status would no longer be a quick process. He would have to accumulate power gradually, like other spiritual masters, requiring a significant investment of time. Unless he could find Zhenhai Guanwu to refine pills again. Li Wei could also try refining the star spiritual pill himself. He had watched Zhenhai Guanwu refine it before and knew the formula and required materials. However, the materials for the star spiritual pill were incredibly expensive. Zhenhai Guanwu had refined 29 pills, costing over 1 million Yongquan coins. With Li Wei's newly acquired pill refinement qualifications and his current level of psychic power and Dao path of pills cultivation, attempting to refine a high-grade spiritual pill right away would result in an abysmal success rate and astronomical costs. With the Fusang Divine Tree, the Fusang Divine Tree meditation technique, and the time cocoon, my cultivation speed far surpasses that of other 3-star spiritual masters. Breaking through to the next realm is the real challenge. The barrier to becoming a 4-star spiritual master is a major hurdle, not easily overcome. For now, I need to find ways to earn more money and purchase more spirit platform blazing starstone fragments and the materials for refining the star spiritual pill. Yang Qingxi knows Wang Shu is not to be trifled with, yet she still wades into this mess. It seems that fourth divine son must possess something extraordinary that has captivated her. Li Wei decided that after rescuing Qi Xiao and Tuoba Buchuo, he would shift his focus to the martial mystic Dao, striving to perfect his 7th sea cultivation and complete his Dao seed. With this thought, he took out the Dao fruit, whose spiritual Qi had not yet fully dissipated, along with the newly purchased spring liquid. He expanded his 7th sea to 3,000 cubic meters, completely exhausting the spiritual Qi within the Dao fruit. Next, Li Wei completely immersed himself in refining spiritual Qi and consolidating his 3 spiritual power Nianli stars. The 6 little ones, having consumed the dragon seed, Zihei, and heavenly origin spirit grass, remained sprawled on the ground, their bodies enveloped in flames. They emitted low, sharp screams that could pierce through metal and shatter stone. These screams didn't sound like those of moths or butterflies, they resembled the calls of Luan birds and phoenixes. Big Phoenix flew to Li Wei's shoulder and urgently whispered something in his ear. "You're saying their transformation has gone wrong." Li Wei's expression turned grave. Big Phoenix nodded, explaining that the 6 little ones' transformation had taken far too long, nearly 3 days had passed, and their auras weren't growing stronger. Instead, they seemed increasingly listless, as if about to fall into a deep sleep. It had never experienced such a phenomenon during its own transformation. Li Wei took this seriously. He walked over to the 6 little ones, carefully examining their internal conditions and communicating with them through psychic power. There's nothing critically wrong, but they're gradually slipping into a deep sleep. Could it be that they haven't consumed enough resources and need to enter a dormant state to complete their transformation slowly? Li Wei had always been an avid reader of books related to insect control, gaining a thorough understanding of the feeding, growth, molting, hibernation, and control of rare insects. After all, 6 of them were simultaneously attempting to break through to the Dao seed realm, and dividing half a stalk of heavenly origin spirit grass among them was clearly insufficient. After some thought, he retrieved the Dao fruit, its spiritual qi completely depleted, and placed it before the 6 young insects. Initially, they only nibbled at it half-heartedly. Gradually, however, they all perked up, swarming over it like 6 moths chasing a ball, devouring the Dao fruit. Before long, the great Dao essence, refined by a master at the 7th heaven of the Dao seed realm, was completely consumed. Li Wei sighed softly. This Dao fruit was worth 1,000,000 Xuanhuan coins, the most valuable item he had that he could sell. Fortunately, after devouring the Dao fruit, the 6 young insects regained their vigor, and their metamorphosis intensified. Dragon and phoenix phantoms appeared on each of their bodies, accompanied by dragon roars from within and phoenix screams from their mouths. The dragon roars originated from their dragon seed and dragon bone. The phoenix screams clearly stemmed from the essence of their own bloodlines. This metamorphosis was so extraordinary that it was no wonder Tang Wanzhou suspected they weren't monarch marquis grade. 4 days after capturing Yi Nanfeng and Yi Baifeng, Li Wei emerged from the formation's light curtain and followed the blood lake to the main hall of the Southern Purity Nanqing Palace. The injuries of Yi Nanfeng, Yi Baifeng, and Zuo Sheng had improved somewhat. With their Dao seed realm cultivation, as long as their spiritual qi wasn't sealed, even broken bones could heal quickly. However, all 3 now bore many new wounds. Yi Baifeng was in the worst condition. His tongue had been cut out, and the flesh on his right hand's 5 fingers had been completely stripped away, leaving only white bone. With eyes filled with terror and dread, the 3 men stared at Yang Qingxi, who stood with her hands clasped behind her back. Viperous beauty wasn't enough to describe her, her methods were both cunning and ruthless. Yi Nanfeng and Yi Baifeng had been interrogated separately. Yi Baifeng, caught in a lie, had his tongue cut out and his right hand's flesh sliced off piece by piece. Yi Nanfeng, on the other hand, had been rewarded with treatment for his hands and feet. From then on, all 3 answered her questions truthfully and completely, daring not to conceal or deceive in any way. These 3 Dao seed realm experts from the heretical sect, who had once killed without mercy and were formidable figures in their own right, had been completely subdued by her. Seeing Li Wei appear, Yang Qingxi's eyes above her veil were filled with displeasure. Where have you been? I went to find you and called out to you, but received no response. You've wasted too much time. If Wang Shu manages to condense a Dao lotus, how will we fight this battle? The entire sect now knows that we're going to challenge Wang Shu. If I lose, I'll only suffer humiliation and lose face. But you, your life will be forfeit. Li Wei said, if Wang Shu had broken through, he would have immediately gone to the Heavenly Principles Tianli Hall to obtain the order seal for breaking the formation and then rushed to the Southern Purity Nanqing Palace to rescue his people. Since he hasn't come, it means he hasn't yet condensed his Dao Lotus. Miss Yang, haven't you broken through to the 3rd heaven of the Dao seed realm? Breaking through isn't that easy, Yang Qingxi replied, her icy expression melting into a charming smile as she understood Li Wei's concerns. Aren't you just looking for a legitimate reason to act? I've already extracted confessions from Wang Shu regarding at least 2 major crimes. Yi Nanfeng, you speak. Li Wei had long sensed that the 3 Dao seed realm experts before him seemed to have already been subdued by Yang Qingxi. Yi Nanfeng, limping forward, bowed and reported, to obtain cultivation resources, Wang Shu has murdered at least 7 disciples of the divine sect, to my knowledge. Yi Nanfeng provided detailed information, including the identities and names of the 7 disciples, the locations of their murders, and the reasons behind them. It didn't seem like this had been fabricated under torture by Yang Qingxi. Wang Shu's other crime is using his status as the divine son to embezzle vast amounts of the divine sect's wealth. He often went on missions for this very purpose. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 48 303 Mighty and Powerful. 48th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei didn't doubt his words. The Twin Rice sect had earned its reputation as a heretical sect, so it was inevitable that darkness festered within. Its members naturally adhered to a survival of the fittest mentality. Only the ruthless could rise through the ranks and reach the Dao Seed realm. If Wangshu were truly clean, that would be the real anomaly. Li Wei turned to Yang Qingxi. Surely the divine sons, goddesses, and true disciples within the divine sect have committed similar acts. If you use these as charges against Wangshu, won't you fear that others might one day use them against you, divine maiden? Li Wei, I trusted your abilities and decisiveness, staking my life and honor on this gamble with you. Now you're hesitating. Has the destruction of your ancestral field drained your vitality and spirit? Are we fighting or not? Yang Qingxi assumed Li Wei's 3-day delay was due to indecision and fear. We fight. But not to accuse him. Instead, the 6th divine daughter will challenge the 4th divine son. Li Wei's primary goal was to save his friends, unlike Yang Qingxi, who was solely focused on cultivation resources. Therefore, he needed a foolproof plan to avoid harming his companions. Yang Qingxi, being exceptionally intelligent, immediately grasped Li Wei's meaning. Her eyes narrowed. A lower-ranked divine daughter challenging a higher-ranked divine son is perfectly reasonable, making it difficult for others to interfere. Once Wangshu accepts the challenge, you can seize the opportunity to infiltrate the 4th divine son's residence and rescue your friends. If Wangshu refuses to fight, then let Yi Nanfeng publicly announce his crimes. But I'm a realm lower than him. I'll need you to lend me the ghost banner and the blood handprint demonic armor. Li Wei said, you're really not shy, are you? I can lend you the ghost banner, but I need the blood handprint demonic armor for myself. Before Yang Qingxi could press for it, Li Wei gave her a reassurance. After we save them, I won't abandon you. After all, I don't want you and the ghost banner falling into Wangshu's hands. You still owe me 5 million Yongquan coins. To prevent Yi Nanfeng and Yi Baifeng from changing their minds at the last minute, Li Wei planted death spirit fire within them. I have another piece of good news for you. Yang Qingxi glanced at Zuo Sheng and smiled. Do you know that a powerful figure within the Zuoqiu sect is very interested in your 7 rare insects? They almost took your life. Li Wei replied, don't be so presumptuous. If I hadn't known about this, I would have died long ago at the hands of Zuo Shi, Zuo Sheng, and Zuoqiu Qingying. But now, 2 of them are dead, and Zuo Sheng is still alive. I'm keeping him for later use. Li Wei planned to hand Zuo Sheng over to Zuoqiu Ling and Zuoqiu Hongding in the future. Yang Qingxi's eyes narrowed slightly as she inwardly marveled at Li Wei's brilliance. Even against someone like Zuoqiu Kangwu, he had foreseen the danger and escaped unscathed. Within the main hall's 28 prefectures, 5 palaces, and 4 halls, rumors spread like wildfire. The 6th divine daughter and the Southern Venerable's eldest disciple secretly planted 6 desires talismans on each other. A 1.5 million Yongquan coin extortion plot. Li Wei's plan to rescue Qi Xiao and Tuo Babuchuo. The 4th divine son is attempting to break through to the 4th heaven of the Dao Seed realm. Outside the Southern Purity Nanqing Palace, a large crowd of young disciples had gathered early, eager to witness whether the 4th divine son would appear and how Li Wei and Yang Qingxi would respond. Creak. The palace gates swung open. The 6th divine daughter, clad in a green robe and veiled, her tall and slender figure exuding grace, emerged from the Southern Purity Nanqing Palace. 3 Dao Seed realm martial mystic cultivators, limping slightly, followed behind her. Yang Qingxi gazed proudly at the divine sect disciples gathered around, infusing her voice with spiritual qi. Today, the 6th divine daughter formally challenges Wangshu, seeking to usurp his position as the 4th divine son. Those who wish to witness the spectacle, follow us. The Twin Rice sect naturally encouraged competition among its divine sons and daughters, as well as challenges between them and the true disciples. The sect's leadership firmly believed that one young celestial emperor was worth 10 divine sons and daughters, and one divine son or daughter was worth 10 true disciples. Only through competition could true strength emerge. A towering tree could never grow in a greenhouse. Why is only the 6th divine daughter here? Where's Li Wei? Could he have backed down? With his cultivation as a 2-star psychic master, challenging the 4th divine son is simply courting disaster. A tide of young disciples followed Yang Qingxi and the other 3, heading towards Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain, where the 4th divine son's residence was located. Among them were many masked figures, cultivators of high status from the outside world. Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain was one of the 28 cultivation hubs in the mortal realm layer. Its structure was composed of dark purple rock, rising over 2,000 meters high, with sheer cliffs and crags covered in silverleaf pines. At the summit top lay the Heaven Law Earth Spring, where the spiritual Qi cloud cascade flowed through the mountain, forming a vast cultivation Dao domain. Within the cascade's embrace, numerous pavilions and towers had been erected, housing hundreds of inner sect disciples who practiced here. Many of them looked to the fourth divine son Wangshu for guidance. In essence, every divine son, divine daughter, and great true inheritance at the main hall had their own territory and followers. The tributes they received each month amounted to a considerable fortune. Those who craved wealth were showered with money. Those who sought precious herbs would go to any lengths to obtain it. Those who desired beauty found it even easier to acquire, as pure immortal physiques were far less rare than figures like divine sons, divine daughters, and great true inheritance disciples. Yang Qingxi was new to the main hall, and having spent the past year in seclusion, many didn't even know who the sixth divine daughter was. Therefore, she chose the most direct approach, defeat Wangshu and seize everything he possessed. She had always acknowledged Li Weiyi's talent and abilities. Before Li Weiyi's ancestral field was ruined, she had even been somewhat in awe of him. This was the reason she had chosen Li Weiyi over Wangshu. On the mountain path, under the leadership of 3 Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators, numerous core disciples and inner sect disciples blocked Yang Qingxi's path. They were Wangshu's followers. Yang Qingxi acted decisively, unleashing her Dao heart manifestation, the river, and her silver 5th grade 100-character artifact battle sword. With swift and forceful attacks, she severely wounded all 3 Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators, giving them no chance to form a combined formation. Wangshu is weak and incompetent, Yang Qingxi roared, he couldn't even save his 2 true disciples and Dao Seed Realm followers. Why are you still following him? Yi Nanfeng, Yi Baifeng, and Zuo Sheng have already pledged their allegiance to me. Those who don't want to die, step aside. After I defeat Wangshu, you can come and pay your respects to me then. With no leader to rally them, the inner sect disciples and core disciples in the 5 Seas realm were cowed by Yang Qingxi's willpower and retreated to the sides. Li Weiyi, still in stealth mode, watched from afar. Miss Yang has been in charge of the Sui sect's younger generation for years. Her aura and methods are far beyond the reach of ordinary people. It's a pity the timing is too tight. If she had reached the 3rd heaven of the Dao Seed realm, Wangshu might not have been her match. Xikong Jingyuan, with his golden pure immortal physique, and Xikong Yanlin, with his silver pure immortal physique, arrived at the foot of Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain in a carriage pulled by 9 humanoid undead souls. They were the 5th divine son and had just returned from a 4-year trial in the Nether Realm of the Dead. Their parents, the Hall Master, Ku Wither and Vice Hall Master, Rong Flourish of the Karong Wither Flourish Hall, had used the power of the 10,000 character scripture artifacts, the Golden Mirror and Silver Wheel, to cultivate these 2 inheritor-level Rendao prodigies. This was also the origin of their names. After 4 years of training in the Nether Realm of the Dead, Xikong Jingyuan and Xikong Yanlin had made significant progress in their cultivation. They immediately came to Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain, determined to seize the position of 4th divine son. Upon seeing the lively formation on the mountain, they ordered the elder driving their carriage to investigate. After learning the full story, they couldn't help but burst into laughter. Even a little girl who's only been in the breakthrough Dao Seed realm for a year dares to challenge him. It seems Wangshu hasn't improved at all in these 4 years. I've lost all interest in fighting him. Xikong Jingyuan said. Xikong Yanlin replied, we still have to fight. The 3rd position is too difficult to contend for, but we must secure the 4th. The divine sect will soon reveal itself to the world, and the rankings of the divine sons and daughters will spread far and wide. Falling even one place will greatly damage our prestige. Very well. Let's first see what this little 6th is made of. They say she's quite skilled at exchanging 6 desires talismans with others. Interesting. Xikong Jingyuan chuckled. Among the divine sect's 4 halls, only the Heaven Valley Tianja Hall has 3 Vice Hall Masters, the other 3 halls each have only 1. The Heavenly Principles Tianli Hall is the first sacred realm for psychic, spiritual, power cultivation, yet its Vice Hall Master, Chu Tianshu, is a great power in the martial mystic Dao Immortal realm. He commands the Patrol Guard, responsible for internal inspections within the divine sect, overseeing all elders, disciples, and followers. The Patrol Guard's duties overlap with those of the Wither Flourish Hall's enforcement team and the Spirit Valley Lingu Hall's Hall Guard Army, each with its own distinct responsibilities. Yi Zhouzu, the 1000 Guard commander of the Patrol Guard, is one of Chu Tianshu's direct disciples. At 43, his cultivation has already reached the 5th heaven of the Dao Seed realm, making him a great true inheritance disciple with the potential for immortal realm. Yi Zhouzu, who appears to be in his late 20s, has sharp features and strides into the hall, kneeling on one knee before the stone statue. Master, are we truly going to stand by and watch them target junior brother like this? The patrol guard has every reason to intervene. Chu Tianshu's stone statue spoke, Yang Qingxi is the 6th divine daughter. Challenging the 4th divine son is perfectly justified. Why should we interfere? Yi Zhouzu replied, junior brother is at a critical moment in cultivating his Tao Lotus. As his senior brother, it's only natural for me to protect him. The stone statue said, Yang Qingxi and Li Wei are no match for him. Within the divine sect, numerous rules restrict him. If he can't protect himself here, how can he survive outside, where there are no rules to shield him? Yi Zhouzu replied, but you are a great true inheritance disciple. You must not interfere. That's an unspoken rule. Otherwise, Yang Qingxi's backing, Yang Shenjing, and Li Weiyi's patron, Yao Qingshan, will never let this go, the stone statue said. Very well, Yi Zhouzu said, rising to leave. The stone statue spoke again, however, if they harm your junior brother's life or cripple his cultivation, they will have broken the rules first. Then you will have every right to intervene and bring them to the heavenly principles Tianli Hall. Yi Zhouzu's face remained devoid of joy, etched only with a deep, chilling cold that threatened to freeze his blood. He thought, so master intends to sacrifice junior brother. Could he be coveting Li Weiyi's 7 rare insects? Ah, yes, they are 7 Lord Marquis grade strange insects, even immortal realm great powers would be tempted. As Yi Zhouzu left the heavenly principles Tianli Hall, he gazed toward Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain. A strange flicker of emotion crossed his rigid face, and his lips curved into a smile, such a powerful surge of qi. It seems junior brother has successfully condensed his Tao Lotus. Yang Qingxi and Li Wei are courting their own doom. At the peak of Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain, a tidal wave of spiritual qi surged from the 4th Divine Sun's residence. Wang Shu's voice, like thunder exploding, boomed, Yang Qingxi, with your 2nd heaven of the Tao Seed Realm cultivation, you dare challenge me. Since you've chosen to join forces with Li Wei and make an enemy of me, don't blame me for showing no mercy to you, goddess. Once I capture you, I'll plant the 6 desires talisman on you and imprison you in the 4th Divine Sun's residence for 3 to 5 years. Only then will I find satisfaction. Outside the Divine Sun's residence, Yang Qingxi's expression changed drastically. She could clearly sense Wang Shu's Tao heart manifestation rapidly expanding, far surpassing its previous size. Has he already broken through to the 4th heaven of the Tao Seed Realm? Without giving her a chance to regret or retreat, Wang Shu shot into the sky like an arrow, then plummeted like a meteor, slamming a palm down toward her. His 5 fingers spread, forming a golden bowl-shaped palm force that enveloped the heavens and earth. The palm force was overwhelming, like a hurricane sweeping through the mountain. Rocks flew through the air, and several inner sect disciples watching from the periphery were caught off guard and sent tumbling off the cliff by the force of the wind. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuanhuan Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 49 304 The Summit of Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain. 49th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. No one had expected that after 3 days of silence, Wang Shu would break through to the 4th heaven of the Tao Seed Realm at this moment. His cultivation had advanced significantly. Inheritor-level heavenly prides in the 3rd heaven of the Tao Seed Realm rarely managed to defeat martial mystic cultivators in the 4th heaven. The presence or absence of a Tao Lotus made a huge difference. However, once an inheritor also cultivated a Tao Lotus, their combat prowess would instantly place them among the top-tier experts in the 4th heaven. As their cultivation continued to improve, they could even potentially defeat martial mystic cultivators in the 5th heaven. Just when the onlookers thought Yang Qingxi's Tao heart manifestation would be shattered by Wang Shu's palm strike, leading to her complete suppression. Whoosh! Dense black mist erupted from Yang Qingxi's body, releasing bone-chilling icy spiritual qi. A formidable yin ghost commander materialized within the mist. Clad in armor and wielding a spear, it had the head of a ram, flaming eyes, and stood 40 feet tall, resembling a majestic, towering human mountain. Its spear, braced like a pillar, clashed with Wang Shu's palm strike. Boom! The violent impact unleashed a shockwave. At that moment, the summit of Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain was shrouded in black mist, and a thick layer of black ice covered the ground. Yang Qingxi stumbled backward, blood trickling from her lips beneath her veil, a result of Wang Shu's palm strike. Yet her eyes shone with newfound confidence. The ghost banner's power exceeded her expectations. When the ghost banner appeared at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, several elders recognized its origins, realizing the dead spirit sealed within was far more than a mere ghost general. The strength one could unleash with the banner depended entirely on the martial mystic cultivator's spiritual qi intensity. With Yang Qingxi's spiritual qi at the peak of the 2nd heaven of the Tao Seed Realm, the dead spirit transformed into a 40-jong tall yin ghost commander, its power reaching the 4th heaven of the Tao Seed Realm. Of course, the yin ghost commander's intelligence, combat skills, and reaction speed couldn't match a true 4th heaven Tao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator. In a real fight, there would still be a gap in their combat prowess. After their clash, Wang Shu retreated, quickly regaining his footing. Indeed, a remarkable battle treasure. If I possessed it, I would instantly gain the combat power to enter the Jiazi register. Yang Qingxi, hand over this treasure, and we'll join forces to deal with Li Wei. I'll let bygones be bygones. Afterward, the blood handprint demonic armor will be yours. Yang Qingxi, wielding a silver longsword, flickered in and out of the black mist. Against you, who's reached the fourth heaven of the Dao Seed realm, I have no chance of winning. This is indeed a good idea. Wang Shu knew well that in this world, there were no unbreakable alliances, only shared interests and a keen sense of timing. He smiled. I knew you were a smart person. Li Wei's ancestral field is already ruined, with limited future potential. But I am like the rising sun, improving every day. Joining forces with me is the wise choice. Yang Qingxi, holding the ghost banner, advanced toward him. Suddenly, a roar erupted, followed by a rushing sound. The Yin Ghost Commander spewed forth dueling cold fire, a torrent of flames that cascaded like a waterfall. Though lacking heat, the fire melted rock and instantly reduced the silverleaf pines at the cliff's edge to ashes. Wang Shu, having anticipated this, had never fully trusted Yang Qingxi. He activated his movement technique, narrowly dodging the flames. A corner of his robe and a strand of hair caught fire, which he quickly extinguished. Yang Qingxi, it seems I misjudged your relationship. You and Li Wei are truly in love, choosing a dead end for him. Do you really think this Yin Ghost Commander can stop me? Wang Shu possessed exceptional comprehension. Not only had he successfully cultivated the great technique, Golden Armor Mountain Moving Technique, but he had also achieved first-layer mastery of the minor law, Thread Shadow Technique. His movements were both mysterious and incredibly swift. His body swayed unpredictably, dodging the Yin Ghost Commander's battle spear and closing in on Yang Qingxi, who was retreating rapidly. His arm transformed into gold, his skin resembling golden armor. He swung his palm blade downward, causing the air to vibrate and explode with a deafening crack. Whoosh! Yang Qingxi, with nowhere to escape, unleashed the 10 absolute sword techniques to defend herself, creating a dense curtain of sword shadows before her. Suddenly, a slender, graceful figure materialized behind her. This figure, identical in appearance to Yang Qingxi, also wielded a 5th-grade 100-character artifact-level silver longsword. However, her face was utterly devoid of color, her skin deathly pale. It was Yang Qingchen. The two sisters joined forces, one on the left and one on the right. Thousands of scripture characters flew from their silver swords, forcing Wang Shu to retreat once more. Yang Qingchen's body radiated intense yin qi. Her long hair cascaded down her back as she spoke. I think Wang Shu's proposal is actually quite reasonable. What Li Wei possesses is far more alluring and easier to deal with. Yang Qingxi, at the second heaven of the Dao Seed realm, fought Wang Shu with every exchange a desperate struggle. Her injuries worsened with each clash. If we surrender the ghost banner to Wang Shu, in the next moment, he'll plant the 6 desires talisman on us, turning us into playthings on his bed. But with you, me, and the Yin Ghost Commander, we can definitely put up a fight. We just need to hold out until Li Wei arrives to rescue us. With superior numbers, our chances of victory are still high. You seem to trust that Li Wei a lot, Yang Qingchen observed. Yang Qingxi found it hard to describe the feeling. During the fierce battle with Yuzi, Li Wei had vowed, as long as you have a breath left, I'll take you away with me. Given the dire circumstances at the time, Li Wei's promise to follow through was truly remarkable. When she awoke in the Chengqing Evergreen Temple and saw Li Wei first, a deep, indescribable emotion stirred within her. After such an experience, how could she not trust Li Wei? The battle erupted again. Yang Qingchen's dead spirit cultivation was exceptionally high, but her fragile mortal body severely limited her combat prowess. Even when joining forces with Yang Qingxi, they could barely hold Wang Shu at bay. The younger disciples scattered down the mountain in panic. Only Xikong Jingyuan and Xikong Yanlin remained on a distant cliff, their eyes burning with excitement. Xikong Jingyuan stared intently at the ghost banner in Yang Qingxi's hand, the legendary dueling cold fire. This ghost banner must have come from the depths of the nether realm of the dead, from that ghost city. The dead spirit sealed within, could it be a ghost marquis or even a ghost monarch? In the nether realm of the dead, the power of yin-type dead spirits is classified as Fierce Soul, Ghost General, Yin Ghost Commander, Ghost Marquis, Ghost Monarch, and Ghost King. An Yin Ghost Commander is equivalent to a Dao Seed Realm Martial Mystic Cultivator or Spiritual Master in the human race. A Ghost Marquis is equivalent to an Immortal Realm Martial Mystic Cultivator. A Ghost Monarch is equivalent to a Great Immortal who has lived for hundreds of years. Even within the Immortal Realm, there are vast differences in strength. During their training in the nether realm of the dead, Xikong Jingyuan and Xikong Yanlin had heard rumors of an endless ghost city deep within the nether realm, called Dongshu Cave Ruins Ghost City. It was said to be ruled by an entity even greater than a ghost king, whose influence extended across the entire million-mile-wide nether realm world and the 6 life realms scattered throughout it, including the Lingxiao realm. Xikong Yanlin's gaze, however, was fixed on Yang Qingxi and Yang Qingchen. He chuckled, "These two little girls are like wild, untamed mares. They have a certain defiance that makes me want to conquer them. And their figures and beauty are absolutely top tier. I like that." Xikong Jingyuan said, "Then it's settled. The people are yours, the ghost banner is mine. The dead spirit sealed within that ghost banner. Its true level is still uncertain. If you choose wrong, don't come to regret it." Xikong Yanlin laughed heartily. Boom. To the east of the fourth divine sun's residence, thunder roared and lightning flashed, causing the mountain to tremble. Li Wei used a box of thunder law profound ice to break through the residence's protective formation. Holding the yellow dragon sword, he stepped directly through the gap in the wall. Moving swiftly, he soon found Qi Xiao and Tuoba Buchuo locked to the stone wall in Wang Shu's cultivation chamber. Once full of youthful vigor, both possessed pure immortal physiques. One was the top talent of the Qi clan's younger generation, while the other was an inheritor-level heavenly pride from the northern territory Tuoba clan. With the Dragon Seed Dao, they had promising futures ahead. But now, they were reduced to mere shadows of their former selves. Wang Shu had been drinking their blood daily, leaving their bodies shriveled and emaciated, resembling two hunched, disheveled old men. One had lost an arm, his body pierced by chains. Behind them on the stone wall, two formations were etched. If they tried to escape or someone attempted a rescue, the formations would activate. As a 3-star spiritual master, Li Wei's psychic power surpassed that of the formation's creator. He quickly located the core nodes of both formations. Hiss. With a single thrust, the yellow dragon sword pierced through the formation etched into the stone wall behind Qi Xiao. Then, with 2 swift slashes, Li Wei severed the iron chains binding Qi Xiao. He caught the emaciated Qi Xiao in his arms, who now weighed a mere 70 pounds. Li Wei was overwhelmed with guilt and anguish, wanting to punch himself for his failure. If not for him, how could Qi Xiao have fallen into the clutches of the Twin Rice sect and suffered such a fate? Be careful. Qi Xiao's weak voice warned. Li Wei didn't need the reminder. He had already released his heaven and earth divine meridian, his senses sharpened to an extreme degree. He had detected the chilling aura descending rapidly from above, but had pretended not to notice. Wang Ji dropped from the roof, his fingers curled into claws, revealing a row of snow-white teeth as he imagined his claws piercing through Li Wei's skull. Whoosh! Calculating the timing and angle with perfect precision, Li Wei sprang to his feet, thrusting the yellow dragon sword upward. The sword radiance was razor-sharp, its emitted light coalescing into a bright pillar of light. Oh no! My chi concealment failed to fool him. Wang Ji's eyes widened in shock. He felt as if he had deliberately impaled himself on the sword's tip. With no way to dodge, he channeled all his strength into his palm, his 5 fingers clawing toward the yellow dragon sword. Wang Ji's cultivation far surpassed Li Wei's. Each strand of his spiritual chi was as tough as iron cloth divine gauze. The yellow dragon sword's blade bore no scripture, indicating its limited grade. In Wang Ji's eyes, he could seize it with his bare hands. However, the moment he touched the sword, Wang Ji regretted it. His vaunted, formidable spiritual chi was sliced through like paper by the yellow dragon sword. 5 of his fingers were severed by the blade, blood spraying everywhere, staining the ground crimson. The dead spirit within Wang Ji felt the pain and let out a miserable shriek. He leapt back, his toes barely touching the ground, retreating at lightning speed. He glanced at his severed hand, then turned a look of utter dread toward the yellow dragon sword. This sword is strange. He exclaimed, with my spiritual chi's strength, I can withstand a 3rd-grade 100-character artifact with my bare hands. Li Wei's previous strike had aimed to pierce Wang Ji's skull. But Wang Ji's cultivation was too high, his reaction too swift. Even in such a perilous situation, he had only lost 5 fingers. This level of cultivation and speed plunged Li Wei's heart into the abyss. He felt immense pressure. This was the power of the 4th heaven of the Dao Seed realm. How could he possibly fight? He had no chance of winning. The last time he faced Wang Ji, he had only escaped thanks to the residual power of Tang Wanzhou within the divine snow sword. Li Wei quickly calmed himself by storing Qi Xiao in a pre-prepared insect pouch. The stronger the enemy, the calmer one must remain. He slowly approached Tuoba Buchuo, saying, I'm curious. When Wang Ji was alive, he was only at the 1st heaven of the Dao Seed realm, with limited physical strength. Now that you've merged with his body, why can you rival a 4th heaven expert? Because before the Hall Master of the Heavenly Principles Tianli Hall refined me into a soul seed, my cultivation far exceeded the 4th heaven of the Dao Seed realm. My physical limitations were hindering my true power. Otherwise, I could crush you with a single finger. Wang Ji's aura was incredibly powerful. He was secretly refining the yellow dragon sword qi that had invaded his body, buying time. Li Wei asked again, so, are you alive or dead? Neither. I live as long as Wang Shu lives. When Wang Shu dies, so do I. The Twin Rice sect knows they can't truly subjugate powerful dead spirits like us, so they use this method, implanting soul seeds in divine sons and daughters, elders, and great true inheritance disciples. They control our lives and deaths through the twinborn soul spirits, Wang Ji explained. Li Wei knew Yang Qingxi was no match for Wang Ji and couldn't afford to delay any longer. He moved beside Tuoba Buchuo, seized his chance, and thrust his sword at the formation's node on the stone wall. The formation shattered. Wang Ji had long seen through Li Wei's intentions and had been waiting for this moment, the moment Li Wei would attempt to save Tuoba Buchuo. Swish. Wang Ji unleashed a bone claw imprint from afar. Then, moving like a phantom, he charged toward Li Wei. Li Wei was also prepared. Spiritual light surged from within him, bright and scorching. The shadow of the Fusong divine tree rose behind him, blocking the bone claw imprint. The branches and leaves of the divine tree's shadow burst through the roof, casting a golden red glow over the summit of Spirit Ridge Lingjit Mountain. Whoosh. Dense blood mist then erupted from the blood handprint demonic armor. Over 900 scriptures were branded onto Li Wei's body. His mental state peaked as he locked eyes with Wang Ji, sword in hand, and charged forward. He used his psychic power to resist Wang Ji's soul spiritual attacks and the yellow dragon sword to clash head-on with the other's formidable spiritual chi energy. Li Wei was knocked back several times, but he always kept Tuoba Buchuo behind him, preventing Wang Ji from closing in. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of blows before suddenly separating. Wang Ji felt stifled. He could have unleashed the full power of the fourth heaven of the Dao Seed realm, but the yellow dragon sword countered him, the golden crow flame within the Fusong divine tree's shadow suppressed him, and his left hand had been severely injured in their first exchange. When he used soul power attacks, Li Wei's psychic power was strong enough to block them. Now, Wang Ji could only exert 5 or 6/10 of his full strength. Why isn't your power as strong as it should be? Li Wei demanded, a hint of confusion in his voice. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 50 305 The True Cultivation Method of the Great Technique. 50th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Brat, if it weren't for the fact that you happened to counter me, with your strength, you would have died at my hands long ago. Wang Ji was furious, his lungs nearly bursting with rage. He felt deeply humiliated by Li Wei. Cracks appeared all over his skin, and blood flowed freely. This was a result of the overwhelming power he was channeling. The dead spirit within him was bound to his physical body. If his body were destroyed, it would be like a flame losing its lamp and wick, instantly dissipating into nothingness. Wang Ji's face twisted into a hideous grimace as he activated a soul power separation technique. 3 streams of yin sha slaughter or killing spiritual chi erupted from his body, rapidly coalescing into 3 fallen spirit clones. Each clone possessed power comparable to a martial mystic cultivator at the third heaven of the Dao Seed realm, like Yi Nanfeng. The power fluctuations emanating from these clones are so intense. The dead spirit within him must be at least at the 7th heaven of the Dao Seed realm. The Twin Rice sect has definitely mastered some secret technique from the ancient Bhagavata sect. Their methods are simply too heaven-defying, they can directly subdue powerful dead spirits and force them to serve their purposes. Li Wei released 6 phoenix-winged moth emperors to intercept Wang Ji's 3 fallen spirit clones. Clatter. Wang Ji's true form conjured 9 soul shackles, like 9 writhing dragon serpents, carrying a sky full of yin mist as they lunged toward Li Wei. Li Wei no longer feared him. Shielded by the Fusong divine tree's golden light, he unleashed golden flame branches, each clashing with the soul shackles. Simultaneously, the yellow dragon sword unleashed streams of dragon shadows, while his other hand fired beams of finger energy. All 6 phoenix-winged moth emperors had grown to a foot long, officially entering the Dao Seed realm. Each displayed their unique abilities, driving Wang Ji's 3 fallen spirit clones into a retreat. The third phoenix spewed golden crow flame from its mouth, burning a fallen spirit clone's soul body clean through with a piercing scream. The fourth phoenix unleashed over a dozen purple lightning bolts from its eyes. After striking the fallen spirit clones, their speed plummeted, becoming sluggish and emitting black smoke. The fifth phoenix moved like a streak of light, using its membranous wings to slice a fallen spirit clone clean in 2. The most formidable was the second phoenix, which had awakened some unknown innate Dao technique. It condensed a 5-colored vortex that swallowed a severely wounded fallen spirit clone whole. It had devoured a fallen spirit clone comparable to a martial mystic cultivator at the Dao Seed Realm, Third Heaven. Of course, it was only able to do so because the clone's soul body had already been burned through, severely weakening its combat strength. After reaching commander level, the innate Dao techniques of the 6 strange insects had all reached a new level of power. 6 against 3, they held an absolute advantage. As the 3 fallen spirit clones were successively destroyed, Wang Ji suffered a severe backlash. It felt as if 3 of his soul spirits had been forcibly stripped away, leaving him weak and his combat strength severely diminished. He immediately fled, escaping toward the 4th Divine Sun's residence. Pursue. Li Wei commanded the 6 strange insects, then slashed the chains binding Tuo Babuchuo and tucked him within the insect pouch. On the summit of Spirit Ridge, Lingji Mountain. Yang Qingqian's physical body, even after a year of refinement and improvement, was only on par with Wang Ji's. Now, it was severely overtaxed, her white skin crisscrossed with spiderweb-like cracks. She looked like fragile porcelain about to shatter. Yang Qingqi was even more severely injured, bearing 4 blade wounds. The most grievous of these had pierced through her spiritual artifact battle armor, leaving a foot-long blood scar across her back. Wang Shu, having unleashed the golden armor mountain moving technique, was now encased in golden armor, his strength so overwhelming that even the Yin Ghost commander couldn't withstand it. He had completely seized the upper hand, driving them to the edge of a cliff. If we don't escape now, we'll never get another chance. Yang Qingqian glanced at the precipice behind her, desperately wanting to leap off and flee. Yang Qingqi glanced toward the 4th Divine Sun's residence, her heart heavy with resentment. To retreat now would mean all their efforts had been in vain, and escape wasn't even guaranteed. Do you really think Li Wei can save Tuo Babuchuo and Qi Xiao? You have Yang Qingqian, but I have Wang Ji. By now, Li Wei has probably already fallen at Wang Ji's hand. As Wang Shu's words faded, a thunderous crash erupted. Boom. Wang Ji burst through the gates of the 4th Divine Sun's residence, fleeing from within. 6 phoenix-winged moth emperors pursued him closely, emerging from the residence in hot pursuit. Seeing this, Yang Qingqi's eyes lit up with a smile. It seems Wang Ji's strength isn't as formidable as you thought. A sense of foreboding washed over Wang Shu. Driven by spiritual qi, his battle blade unleashed hundreds of scripture inscriptions that enveloped his entire body. With all his power, he swung the blade toward Yang Qingqi and Yang Qingqian at the cliff's edge. Roar. A yellow dragon burst forth from the 4th Divine Sun's residence. Li Wei ascended into the sky atop the dragon, and in midair, he instinctively formed a finger seal in a desperate attempt. He struck out with a finger, aiming at Wang Shu from afar. Wrong. Li Wei immediately realized this finger force followed a different spiritual qi flow than the Sihang Enlightenment finger. Yet, the finger force had somehow solidified. Completely unlike the Sihang Enlightenment finger, it was a blazing flame attribute power, resembling a fiery serpent that tore through the sky. Wang Shu, having cleaved Yang Qingqi and Yang Qingqian off the cliff, didn't turn around. Instead, he braced himself to absorb the incoming finger force with his body. Boom. The fiery finger force slammed into his back, producing a resounding clang like a struck bell. Wang Shu remained completely motionless, sand and gravel swirling around his feet. His back still shone with a brilliant golden light, impervious and indestructible, his defenses utterly formidable. He turned, blade in hand, to face Li Wei, who had just landed on the ground riding a dragon shadow. With your current attack power, I could stand here without moving, and you wouldn't even scratch me. Li Wei, haven't you even broken through to the Dao Seed Realm yet? Li Wei looked at his fingers with a puzzled expression. The energy flow just now seemed to be the Ember Annihilation Finger Technique, the first level of the 6-fold Samsara Burning Karma Technique. But, I've never practiced it before. I just read about it for half a day. Did I really master it already? The 6-fold Samsara Burning Karma Technique was a great technique, and mastering its first level typically required a year of diligent cultivation. Wang Shu watched Li Wei muttering to himself, completely ignoring him. A nameless rage ignited within him. He couldn't understand why Yang Qingqi, despite Li Wei's ruined ancestral field, still trusted him so deeply, even risking her life to buy him time. This divine sun will now test the true mettle of this young celestial emperor. Wang Shu raised his blade and strode forward. His footsteps quickened. Within 10 meters, he unleashed his Dao Heart manifestation, transforming into a golden sun radiating brilliance. He swung his blade down at Li Wei with devastating force. Li Wei retreated quickly, preparing to use the Ember Annihilation Finger technique again. This time, he would combine it with psychic power. During his first attempt, he had felt his entire psychic power being drawn into the finger strike. Now, he wanted to test a theory that had formed in his mind. Whoosh! As Li Wei's finger struck out, an illusion of the Fusong Divine Tree materialized behind him. From the tree's shadow, streams of golden crow flame erupted, coiling around his arm and converging at his fingertip. Psychic power, golden crow flame, and finger force intertwined, coalescing into a blinding beam of light that slammed into the edge of Wangshu's battle blade. Boom! The two forces locked in a stalemate for about a breath before both men were forced to retreat. Wangshu landed on the ground, staring at Li Wei in disbelief. Only he knew how terrifying that finger force had been. Its intense heat had nearly melted his golden armor mountain moving technique defense, and his hands, still burning with agony, felt as though his golden armor was about to melt. Have you mastered the first level of the sixfold samsara burning karma technique? Wangshu asked, his voice strained. The sixfold samsara burning karma technique was the nemesis of the golden armor mountain moving technique. Li Wei was now certain that the sixfold samsara burning karma technique was indeed a great technique whose full power could only be unleashed when combined with psychic power. In Buddhism, the sixfold refers to dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, dew, and lightning. This technique originated from the ancient Bhagavata sect's psychic, spiritual power cultivation method. The version of the sixfold samsara burning karma technique currently recorded in the Spirit Valley Lingu Hall could only be called the burning karma technique, and it only possessed the power of a great technique. The true sixfold samsara burning karma technique was an imperial technique that required integration with psychic power to unlock its 7th, 8th, and 9th layers. Even Shanjing was unaware of this fact. In truth, Buddhism had always emphasized the simultaneous cultivation of psychic power and the martial mystic Tao, striving for transcendence of both mind and body. The sixfold samsara burning karma technique was created to perfectly merge the power of psychic power and the martial mystic Tao, unleashing their combined might. With this technique, Li Wei could combine the power of a 3-star spiritual master and a 7th sea martial mystic Tao cultivator into a single strike. Only by using this technique could he achieve such perfect integration. Yang Qingqi and Yang Qingchen leapt up from the cliff below. Yang Qingchen, with her powerful soul spirit, sensed the extraordinary fluctuations of psychic power emanating from Li Wei. What rapid progress! His psychic power talent is truly exceptional. He's already a 3-star spiritual master. Yang Qingqi was secretly astonished as well, her voice soft and ethereal. The person I choose is naturally exceptional. Many true disciples and elders were watching the battle atop Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain. The double-headed golden-winged eagle's twin wings spanned dozens of meters. One head was that of a wolf, the other a turtle. Having consumed the blood of an ancient immortal giant beast, it possessed combat power comparable to the 7th heaven of the Dao Seed realm, rivaling the renowned demon beasts of Heavenly Cliff Tianya Ridge and Yin Mountain. The first divine son Changji Daozi stood proudly on the eagle's back, his handsome features and neatly arranged hair held in place by a jade hairpin and crown. He resembled an exiled immortal gazing down upon the mountaintop of Spirit Ridge Lingji Mountain. Elder Shu, standing behind him, stared in disbelief, his eyes wide. No way. He's already mastered the first layer of the sixfold samsara burning karma technique. That must have been in Act 3 days ago. He's been studying this technique all along. Incredible. His comprehension far surpasses Wang Shu's. Changji Daozi replied, in a one-on-one fight, Li Wei's combat power still lags far behind Wang Shu's. However, his psychic power cultivation is quite impressive. He's already a 3-star spiritual master. Elder Shu glanced at the patrol guards on the mountain path, his expression darkening. Li Wei is the Southern Venerable's eldest disciple. If those great true inheritances are Xikong Jingyuan and Xikong Yanlin interfere now, they'll be breaking the unspoken rules. We should intervene to save him and earn a great favor. Changji Daozi said. Li Wei broke the rules himself by forcibly entering the 4th Divine Son's residence to rescue someone. He clearly doesn't consider himself a true member of the divine sect and harbors ulterior motives. He'll inevitably drag Qingchen down with him in the future. Having Yi Zhouzu, Xikong Jingyuan, and Xikong Yanlin eliminate him is actually a good thing. Elder Shu had never imagined Changji Daozi would think this way. In his view, Li Wei's willingness to risk so much to save his friend proved he was a man of clear principles. Showing him kindness now might yield unexpected rewards later. But there was nothing he could do. Changji Daozi's cultivation far surpassed his own, and he was the current head of Spirit Valley Lingu Hall. He had no choice but to obey. Changji Daozi's gaze fell upon the 6 strange insects. Everyone can see the extraordinary value of these 6 strange insects, the ghost banner, and the blood handprint demonic armor. Yi Zhouzu, Xikong Jingyuan, and Xikong Yanlin won't let them go. We can't let them seize these treasures. We must act to collect them and eventually hand them over to Qingchen. The disciple's legacy should naturally belong to his master. The 6 phoenix-winged moth emperors returned, reporting to Li Wei that Wang Ji had escaped down the mountain and they hadn't been able to catch him. They hadn't dared pursue him too far, fearing capture by the twin rice sex experts. Li Wei scanned the surroundings, noticing many greedy gazes fixed upon him. He felt no fear. His support extended beyond Yao Qingshan to include Shanjing. As long as the golden rice hadn't ripened, who would dare touch him? Li Wei turned to Wang Shu. One-on-one, I'm no match for you. But Wang Shu, this is now a 10-on-1 situation. Your Tao Lotus hasn't fully formed yet, has it? My psychic power can sense the instability in your aura. Yang Qingqi once again channeled his spiritual qi, activating the ghost banner. A 40-foot-tall yin ghost commander materialized, advancing step by step toward Wang Shu. Even if Wang Shu had fully broken through to the fourth heaven and had already condensed his Tao Lotus, he couldn't possibly fight 10 opponents at once. Without hesitation, he charged to the right, leaping off the cliff. His voice echoed back, Li Wei, Yang Qingqi, wait until I've condensed my Tao Lotus and fully broken through. Then we'll settle this once and for all. Wang Shu explored the underground immortal mansion and discovered a secret treasure vault. He must have many resources on him. We can't let him escape. Yang Qingqi thought, desperately wanting to keep Wang Shu's resources for herself. But she had to share this secret with Li Wei through mental transmission. Li Wei had never intended to let Wang Shu go. Leaving aside Wang Shu's future revenge, Li Wei knew that if he couldn't avenge Qi Xiao, he would be haunted by guilt for a long time to come. Wang Shu, your crimes of murdering fellow disciples have been exposed. Where do you think you're going? Li Wei plunged down the cliff, a phantom yellow dragon appearing beneath his feet, carrying him in pursuit. 6 phoenix-winged moth emperors flew alongside him. Fourth divine son, we haven't finished our match yet. Yang Qingqi and Yang Qingshan darted across the cliff face, constantly changing positions as they pursued Wang Shu down the mountain. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.